Uh, Hello, I am Osama Adil. Currently, I am the Institute Secretary of Hostel Affairs, and in my tenure, I've seen a variety of problems which students faces in their day-to-day lives. I've worked in with administration on various levels in various multiple genres. In as I was representing the state office, and I was also the security nominee, as well as I took upon myself the duty of a women's cell nominee, in which I was the sole representative of these verticals in institute. Working as an ISHA, I was also Working as an ISHA, I was also involved with the policy making bodies, which are HCC as well as HGSC. These bodies would taught me how to talk to the authorities and portray the points of the students' perspective to higher authorities in a well-defined manner and to push the things in a right manner. I have a vision that I did feel in my tenure that the current processes are a little harder for students to get. I do feel that current processes could be made simpler, easier, and easy to catch for the students. These processes are harder and complex and could easily be made easier for students to use. I do feel that considering the present situation the institute have and problems which we have currently, the institute and especially the Hostel Affairs Council do need to consider technological change in its working. I want institute to consider more technological changes and move in the direction of the development considering these changes and having a sustainable as well as a directional development. Uh, Going now to my manifesto points, starting with mess, institute eateries, and canteens reforms, which I've jotted out. Uh, while I was doing my groundwork and also in my tenure, I did realize that students are actually facing many troubles with the present messing system. It is a very good opportunity and it is also something very nice, a very good facility which we have in our institute, but it does have some major steps which are to be taken, and I do feel it is the right time to take these steps. With with this, I propose a multi-messing option. A multi-messing option is nothing but a basic semi-paper meal option which we will have, and I'll explain more in greater detail after in my debate or somewhere. Then I found out in my groundwork, I found out that there are problems with the clean food which is left over. With that, I propose a safe surplus food campaign in which, like, I realize that we are wasting clean food worth of 33 lakhs to 55 lakhs in our institute on a yearly basis, and I do feel that it should be used in a nice and efficient manner. With that, I propose a safe surplus food campaign in which the food would be delivered to the NGOs, which would go to the needful. Coming down to my canteen reforms, I feel that students get bored of eating the same things again and again in canteens, and also we are unable to expand greatly with the gravy items which we have in our canteens. With that, I propose a dynamic weekly menu with which the options would keep on changing on a daily basis. As well as I introduce a fine system in which fine would be imposed on the canteens so that we have a more hygienic place to eat. Coming down to my institute reforms, I propose a Naturo joint where we'll get fresh fruits and where we have the opportunity to get fresh fruits as well as fresh juices and vegetable juices as well. I also introduce and I also will try to implement, which was also proposed in our last 10 years, a night delivery system from hostel 12, 13, 14 to the students of each and every hostel at their hostel doors. Coming down to my transportation, I feel that currently the transportation system is not very well. People are actually struggling with transportation services, and it do have multiple genres. We have cycling system, we have auto walas, and we have buses. Starting with my TumTum services, what I propose is seatless TumTum. They are not completely seatless. They do have seats at the periphery, and with this the capacity increases drastically. Then moving to auto walas. Currently, we do not have any authority, and none of the students is able to complain in a very nice manner, and these complaints are never heard. So what I propose is digitalizing the current ticketing auto system, with which we can complain in an efficient manner, as well as we will have the entire data on hold, and security could actually work more to implement the problems, could actually sort problems of students in a nice and efficient manner. Moving down Moving now to other facilities, I will launch already started portal, which is Reaches portal, in which we'll have multiple options of eating. Like we have been trying from over the last 2-3 years to get Domino's inside or a Pizza Hut inside, but we have been unable to reach there. So what I proposed and what we worked as a council last year was to have a Reaches portal. Reaches portal will have multiple branded eateries, which will give us multiple options and many things to eat. We could actually we'll have the discounts, and we could actually order from there, and you can have many options to eat, and we'll have a variety of things to take. Time. Okay, thank you.
So now I think it's time for the panel debate. So let us pass on the mic to Saket. Saket, you can start the first question. Okay, Krupa, you start for the first question.
Hi. So you have proposed a multi-messing option. So how do you propose to manage the logistics? So it might happen that all the one hostel's food is very popular, and all the students go to eat there. The hostel is not equipped to handle so many students. The residents of the students will face issues because they would not find space to sit. Plus, it might so happen that the food might get over before, because it's electronic, right? It's universal electronic mess card. So anyone can just swipe the card and have food.
I'll clarify you on this. Starting with the first doubt that anybody could eat anywhere. It's not a system that a paper meal. It is a semi per meal, which will have inculcation of the portal. A portal goes as that you will have a portal in which you will be pre-registered for a mess. Let's say you are a student of Hostel 9. So you'll be pre-registered by default in your Hostel 9 mess. Like it is just an extension of the opt-out system which we have. Currently, when we opt out, there is a cost of 1300 rupees involved with it. This cost with this portal, the cost would be brought down to 1000 rupees, because 300 rupees is the cost which we pay to the mess managers as well as hall managers for the administrative and paperwork which they do. With this system, we are taking the entire thing on the portal, with which they don't have to do any work. So the cost automatically comes down to 1000 rupees per month for the opting out. This was the first step which was taken with the present council. The next step was that we don't have the options to eat in other messes. Currently, the problem is that whenever I'm not eating in my mess, I'm paying for it if I'm registered. And if I am not, and if I'm opting out, I don't have options to eat in other messes. As well as if I'm going in other messes, I'm paying guest charges. So with the multi-messing option, the features which you will get is that you can actually register in a mess by default, and you can extend the messing system. But the cap would be that you will have to register and change the registration in a mess a day before. That is if today is Wednesday, and if you want to eat the Friday's breakfast or lunch or anything in X mess, in the mess of other hostel. So tonight would be the last time you could actually change your registration. With this, I'll give the details to the caterer. The caterer knows that how many people are coming to his mess for X lunch or for dinner. So he'll prepare accordingly. Any rebutting?
But what about space? Like it is only 200 people it can sit, and like 1000 people are registering for it.
Okay.
Just one more to add on. Caterer often cribs about the changing menu even if it's done a day in advance. So it's like I get stuff for day after tomorrow. I get stuff 2 days earlier or something. Or they generally buy monthly stocks or something.
They never buy monthly stocks. Their stocks bought from them, and they prepare according to the needs of the student as the menu changes. We have the fixed menus in each and every hostel, like the preference system. The only option which I am giving to you is to choose in which mess you want to eat. And one day before is quite a lot of time for the caterer to manage the expensive and as well as manage the logistics which he have to prepare the food for the students.
Okay, so I have 2
and
points.
Coming to the space point which was left over, currently we have seen Hostel 10 messes in which the capacity for the mess was of 350 students. Although put there 1100 students, the mess was going on in the same timings, but that was like 200% tolerance. What I propose is a 20% tolerance rule. Each and every mess in our hostel, except Hostel 4, have a capacity to take 20% more. Like if we have 350 students in the mess, we could easily accommodate 450 or 425.
That's not entirely true, right? Because if you talk about the hostel 8, we just got D-Wing, right? And we are facing a problem that even we won't be able to cater the students of D-Wing. So in that case,
that is what
how
I'm
do we
telling you. It depends from mess to mess that what is the tolerance level of that mess.
And the
let's say four,
students are
hostel-
not satisfied with more people eating in the mess. You say hostel 10, the people were highly dissatisfied with the crowd and the guest entries were stopped because of that.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. The people were dissatisfied because there were 200 people, 200% increase in the messes. But what I am proposing is a 20% tolerance.
security refinements, digitalization. So basically,
It is-
whatever you have thought on this auto rickshaw system, okay?
Okay. The system is that currently we have 200 cards which are given to the autowalas, which are never checked. When the autowala comes in, they take their cards. They have a time span of 30 minutes. But if you'll observe when they are moving out, there is no check on it. So what I propose is digitizing this system. With this system, we will have a barcode on each and every card which we give. These cards would be scanned with a scanner, like it is done, and this entire data of the card would go to the portal. The security guard sitting in front of it would enter the details of the auto. So we'll have the complete data on the portal. With this, we'll keep a check.
Enter detail where?
Enter details on the portal. We'll have this entire portal of the autowalas. With these details, we'll have the cloud data, which could eventually be checked. Currently, what the autowalas do is that they enter from main gate and they exit from the Y-point gate if they have a misbehavior case inside campus. They're smart enough to know this, and all the autowalas are all who stay around. So they do know the logistics of the auto working in institute. So with this system, we'll have a catch on them. And currently, if you talk to the securities, you'll get to know that they cannot actually catch the autowalas because they do not know when to catch them and how to catch them, because we do not know where to go. Because if he's entering from main gate and he's leaving from Y point, how can you actually have a hold on him? With this system, while leaving the autowala, we'll scan it again. So the complaint which the student makes would eventually go to the portal directly, and we'll have a red mark in the portal so that security also knows that we have to catch this guy.
Okay, that sounds very nice, but do you know even current with the current system, security guys don't always give the cards to the autowalas, right? Because if they know the ID card, if they know the auto rickshaw walas, they don't give the ID cards to them.
Also
they don't
they-
even care. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and the autowalas-
they're increasing their work. Okay.
One by one, please. Firstly, I am reducing their work. Currently, all they have to write is their card number which is given, the number of the autos, and the time which he is entering. So he's entering 3 details. With this portal, he'll only have to enter 1 detail. First of all, only the auto number. So his work is getting reduced. And currently, he do not give autos the card and sometimes he gives, because he knows that there is no authentic check on him. And if we'll have this system in place, these autos come in and somebody complains against him and we don't have this data on portal, so we can actually catch hold of the security guard. So in this manner, the complete cycle is completed and we'll have the authentic system to actually have a check on these autowalas.
Okay, so there's the point of all-female quick response team. Now we know in the institute, in the girls' hostel, we have just one security guard. And whenever we approach the security team, it is said that we are short on staff, and that's why we cannot female staff, and we cannot have 2 security, which is actually a major requirement. And so how do you propose to get an all-female quick response team when we do not have enough personnel for the security of the hostel itself?
Okay, so I'll tell you that I was a security nominee as well as the women's cell nominee. So this is the initiative which I took, combining the both of the verticals and the knowledge which I gained, and also talking to both of the administrative part as well as to the professors. Even they do feel that there is actually a need of this all-female quick response team, because currently whenever there is a complaint by a female, they could not actually tell in front of boys. The male.
We
So
agree
do
to
have
the
a need of
need.
this.
We want
With
to
the
know
same
how the
need-
feasibility.
The same need was taken to the authorities by me in my groundwork, and I told them that this thing is something needful and it should be done right now. They have already agreed to me in words that they are willing to do it, and we'll have separate, we'll recruit more female security guards as well as inspector. We'll work the same as we have the security team currently. We'll have the same team for the females, having all female security guards who will be recruited soon.
You have already talked to the CEO and basically.
He's a CSO.
Sorry, CSO for this.
I've had a word with him in mouth, like mouth to mouth. I've had a word. I've already confirmed that this thing could be done, and they're willing and ready to accept and take these female security guards in panel.
Okay, fine.
In-
Okay.
Yeah. So you have mentioned about HA times. Yeah. So can you tell us about how it's gonna work out? I mean, who will get it published and how? I mean, who will write the articles and stuff?
This is HA Times. This is not something which will be published. This is a e-newsletter. So my entire council is working on HA Council is working on each and every vertical which they have at multiple levels. So it is a quarterly newspaper. So each of the student who is a part of the council will have 2 months to work on some of the work given to him, which they do in some extent. All these things would be taken in a crisp manner to the paper and will be published by me after sorting out and after editing it. There's no content writing. There will be core policies and the work which is done. There won't be a newsletter in the sense which otherwise I would have actually collaborated with Insight. But
That is
I'm
exactly
not
what I'm
because
saying. You should have. Because
I'm not because there will be a very crisp and to the point newsletter which will actually give you the details which are utmost and required for students to know.
But such
Nothing
a blog,
more, nothing less.
Such a blog already exists. HA Council blog is already present, which is maintained by the GSHA. What is
HA
the addition to that?
HA Council blog was something which used to exist. It do not exist now. We have some technical issues with that, which you can confirm with the moderator.
So you can work on modifying that, right? If there is no difference between these two things, why you are increasing the work?
I did had a word with Abbas. He told me that it is impossible for a Jisha in his tenure to actually portray and write the blogs for each and everything which he's doing.
Yes, okay.
Instead, I did had a word with him to introduce his HA Times. So he told me that his experience was very bad with writing the blogs because they are very, very lengthy and they do not convey the message in a crisp and correct manner.
Okay.
With which I introduced this HA Times, which will actually tell the students all the aspects which we have, because blog will have limitations.
Okay.
It will have 2 to 3 blogs.
Okay, so in the healthcare facilities, you are going to push for establishing an independent private medical clinic at YP Gate with subsidized rates. So, is it available for the students? MTech students are their insurance is covered. So okay, fine. All students' insurances are covered. So, is it the tie-up with that? Will the money be deducted from the insurance?
No, like I've written it clearly here, the private medical clinic at Vipon Gate with subsidized rates. Rates mean that student will have to pay something. It's not something in collaboration with hospitals which we have. It will be a separate vertical at separate point where students can go and show themselves if they do feel that these problems which they portrayed are not getting catered currently in a correct manner in the hospital which we have.
So don't you think if that's the case, if a student is feeling that the problems are not being catered properly, shouldn't he be referred to a specialist in the ITB hospital itself?
Okay, so I'll tell you. There, after meeting many people in the groundwork and also having met many people in hospital itself, there are 3 kind of problems which we face. Apparently, there is the 3 categories go that there are some bigger problems which the IT hospital themselves refer outside. Okay. The secondly are the very easy problems which are always catered by the IT hospitals very efficiently. And the middle level problems are something which could not be at least referred outside because it do have a cost and logistics involved with it. And some students do feel that we need something more where we could show ourselves and we can have a dedicated checkup of ourselves. So these are the problems which needs to be sorted out currently, and this private medical
Have you
clinic
talked
would
with
stop.
any agency for this? Have you talked
Yeah,
with any?
we were actually convincing Rinti ma'am for it in the last HHC meeting. Sorry.
You cannot mention any professor or anyone.
Really sorry.
Okay.
I've had a word with the authorities. These authorities are actually willing to start this because these problems were again taken by me to them to tell that
You continue.
these problems were taken to me by them, the authorities, hospital authorities who are actually capable to take policy making decisions, and they've agreed to do it.
So next is about the urban farming. So you have said कि urban farming in hostel terraces and gardens to promote horticulture, right? So you already know that the terrace is very sensitive issue, right? And there are lots of other issues. Why you are
Like?
planning to have urban farming on terraces?
Like which issues?
like you already have a overflowing of tanks and etc. Right? This issue is from last 2 years and we are not able to cater this
Issues on terrace.
till now.
Leakage issues are there.
Yeah.
Leakages issue are there
Issue.
during
and hostel
monsoons.
infrastructure is also not that good.
So what I wrote here is actually not for the hostels from 2 to 9, from 1 to 9.
Okay.
These terraces will be of 15, 16 and 12, 13, 14 who are actually stable enough to handle these urban farming. As it is coming down to your point of leakages, there's only a section of the terrace which is covered by the water flow and not entire thing. So we although have spaces where we could start this urban farming.
So if you're not doing 2 to 9, so if you're not doing it in hostel 2 to 9, so
We'll
there is
start
no
in
issue of
gardens.
leaking, right?
We'll start in gardens there. As written
In gardens.
Huh.
So even hostel 15, 16 and 12, 13, 14 has a large space in their gardens itself, right? So what is the point of having the urban farming in the terrace? Why
that is
they
something to
actually-
increase space. Like
You don't need to, I mean.
we have space in gardens, we also have spaces in terraces. So why is there not a need to actually implement something which could be, the space of the terrace could actually be used for something productive? So why not do it?
Who will? Yeah, who is going to pay the cost for all this? It is going from the student amenities.
No. I have already had a word with a professor from CSE department with name I cannot take, but but he is willing to. He actually have a startup in this, and he's willing to fund students for this entire thing.
And so he is willing to fund the maintenance cost also
Exactly.
throughout the years.
Exactly.
So who will do the maintenance? Like hostel council or the
That is
institute
something which will be
council?
calculated what maintenance is coming, and they'll be
So
told
have
to.
you calculated it? I mean, because you are going to propose it to the hostel, right? And if any hostel denies it, so it's not feasible, right?
It's something which cannot be calculated currently because something which is variable.
Any tentative idea?
It cannot tentatively tell you because it's something which is very variable.
And if it's a startup, as you mentioned, if it's a startup, will it something be related to profit making or something?
No, it won't be. He's funding us for free because he wants to expand his services. Exactly.
Right now we're moving on to the topic debate. So so I'll tell you what the question is. In the present situation, the financial health of the institute, it is debated whether or not we will be able to get funds for student activities. Major problems with most of our initiatives boils down to financial approvals. So how do you plan to tackle this issue at hand? Or how do you plan to prioritize your initiatives or the follow-up works?
Okay. So coming down to my manifesto and financial health. So there are two kinds of things. Firstly, I haven't taken any initiatives considering the fact that currently the institute is not financially stable. So what I did that I haven't. If you'll go through my manifesto, you'll realize that there is no initiative which is very financially exhaustive and which needs something finances in a large extent. Secondly, the follow-ups which I am taking of the cycle building system or the air-conditioned study rooms are already in principle approved to have funding from outer agencies or LMs.
So what is the total budget for this manifesto? I mean, whatever the point you are putting. Because in the first point itself, multi-messing option, I can see a budget, right?
Multi-messing options is
Yeah.
bare minimum because the portal would be developed by HA Council.
Yeah, I'm not talking about
The biometrics,
I'm talking about
we
the
all
biometric
already have-
machine. I'm talking about the biometric machine that you will put in every hostel, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So portal would be developed by the HA Council.
Yeah, agree.
We already have our iCards which are RFID enabled. Thirdly, coming down to the biometrics which we need to install. Currently, and the computers which we need to install. So in the present system, with the contracts which we have, they are already, these caterers are bound to keep one laptop or computers in their.
No, that's not true.
We already
They are
have that.
supposed to, but it's
They're
not
supposed to, but
compulsory.
they're not keeping it. It is compulsory for them to keep, but they're not keeping. Then it comes down to the hostel council to ensure that these things are kept.
Well, I don't think this is.
And with this system, we'll ensure a biometric machines, which is eventually 4,000 rupees. So, do you feel that is it something very extensive, of cost effective, or it needs something very?
No, first of all, it's. I mean,
It'll
there's
be
no such
included.
clause in the.
It will be included with the contracts, so that they have 4,000 rupees biometric machines with the laptops or the computers which they are supposed to keep in their.
So basically, first thing, there's no such clause about keeping a computer or laptop in
Yes,
with the
that-
hall manager.
that is-
with the mess manager.
No.
I mean the main question that we are asking is about the overall budget. What
Overall
is the
budget, I'm
overall
telling you
budget
that
you expect
per mess it will go to around
No, not
at
just,
max.
Sorry, not just for the mess, for many budget intensive points that you have in your manifesto.
Saket,
You,
Osama,
you
it's not
can be a little
4,000.
more specific. I don't feel you can ask about entire manifesto.
Very open question. Let us do one thing. Just go through 4 or 5 points which are budget intensive and ask them about.
Yeah, so regarding the first point itself, he said it's 4,000, right? But I want to say you ki, before 2 years, Hostel 5 had a biometric machine of 5,000 rupees and it was not a feasible project, okay? So I'm telling you, you need at least of 20,000 rupees of biometric machine in each hostel.
That
And
was-
that is true because I have already done the groundwork for this in my tenure.
Okay, I'll tell you that the groundwork which you did was 1 year ago, and the system which they applied was 2 years back. The technology has changed.
But
it has
I'm talking
evolved,
about this year,
It has
my year.
changed. It has evolved, and currently the systems which we have are much more efficient and effective.
So
if you
basically you are
check the
gonna say,
details with Triple IT Hyderabad, currently they bought the systems of 3,500 rupees machines, and what I'm telling you is 4,000 rupees, which are much more effective, and they have the guarantee of three years.
So institute is gonna pay for this,
Institute
right?
is not going to pay. I am including this with the tendering process which we have. This will be in the contracts of the caterers who come in.
Okay, who's
They,
coming?
the
But what
only
about
change
the
would be of
already
4,000
existing
rupees, which is
contract?
something negligible for these caterers.
As a very general rule, whatever additional cost you put in the contract, it is eventually going to be borne by the students of that hospital.
Exactly.
So 4,000 rupees per head is
10 rupees for the.
not even 10 rupees. Okay.
Okay, fine, okay, fine.
Okay, so other 2-3 budget intensive points that I think of. I mean about CCTV cameras. So that would cost a lot. The other thing would be seatless terms. I mean, again, how would that be funded?
Okay.
How many
Currently,
Both of them.
please one at a time. Currently, the CCTV cameras are already procured and they are being installing. We have started the installation process with Hostel 10, and it will move to the other hostels as well. Coming back to your second point of seatless terms, it's not something very cost intensive. I've had the word with the Aaron contractor. He's ready to make the current tum-tums into the seatless tum-tums because as I told you earlier, these seatless tum-tums are not totally seatless. It do have seats at the periphery, similar to the tum-tums or the buses which are run at airports or in other cities. So all they have to do is remove the two parallel seats in middle and increase the capacity, which they are willing to do at the same cost, which is 1.1 lakh rupees per month per bus.
The second topic for the debate is the present opt-out messing scheme. How effective do you think it is? Can we make this opt-out entirely optional by eliminating any fee cut at all, and this includes the 1,000 rupees that you're talking about? And this scenario, whatever you're thinking about, you have to ensure that it needs to take care of all the segments that we have amongst the student populations as well.
So what I get from your question is that you're talking about the complete pay-per meal system which could be implemented. I do not feel that complete paper meal is something which is to be implemented currently in our messes. Our messes are not stable enough to handle that. What I propose is one step ahead of the opt-out system. Currently, the opt-out system has seen a growth which was in just 1 month, that people have started opting out from 20 to like say 40. So there will be already 100% increase in the average people who are opting out. And secondly, these costs would eventually be needed. These 1,000 rupees are a must because these 1,000 rupees are something which directly goes to the mess caterers, and it is something which is involved with the basic day-to-day working of the messes, which involves the cost of the mess manager, his salary, working of the mess managers, the mess workers, and their salaries. This is something of utmost importance because we cannot actually shackle the current systems, and we cannot actually change something. We cannot have a direct jump from an orthodox system which we have to a direct paper meal system. These changes will eventually, it could lead there, it could not. But currently, this is not something which is feasible. What I am proposing, a multi-messing option, is one step closer to that, but it will consider the stability as well.
So generally there are right now currently two concerns among the students. Why shouldn't it be possible for a student to opt out for a different mess in a different hostel right at the start of the semester? And the other thing is, what if there's some messes already running at more than their capacity, like messes in hostel 4, in hostel 10, and maybe in hostel 8. So what if, don't you think it is feasible for if we allow some of the students to I mean, if we allow some students to opt out at a lower rate, I mean,
Point
at a
is
rate
ki there is a
less than-
minimum number. There is a minimum number of students in every contract. Okay, so let's say if in hostel 4 or hostel 8, the number of students who opt out is not crossing the number that is the minimum number. Okay, so what is the problem in having the complete opt out?
These numbers are actually were there in the previous contracts which we have. We started this putting the clause of 1,000 rupees or 1,300 rupees in the contracts starting from the 12-13 contracts which we made just now in last month.
Okay.
Last to last month, sorry. So we have already removed the clause of minimum number of students. We have a clause of basic payments which will be done by a student to his mess to run the messes stably. That is 1,300 rupees presently, which will eventually boil down to 1,000 rupees. So that will consider the stability of the mess as well as
So you are specifically
cutting down-
talking about one hostel, right? What I'm saying
Each and
is
every
there
hostel.
already no in lot of hostel there is already existing contract, and if you are planning to remove the minimum number of students, so there will be a new contract in every hostel, right?
We each and every year we do retendering and we
Yeah.
have new contracts.
Okay.
So with the next we'll start with your tendering in August or say July.
So, but do
August,
you
like,
have,
so we'll
do you have
change the-
discussed this with any other GSECs, right? Because I am not aware of such things that the minimum number of students is gonna remove.
That
from
has
every
already been
contract.
removed in 12, 13, 14. That thing is already done. So we don't think that certain more discussion is needed on this thing with other GSECs.
Just one last thing. What about the possibility of student opting for mess in some different hostel right at the start of the semester?
I told you currently that the mess,
No, my point
the
is,
system which I have,
instead of that, he's not opting out. He just want to register in a different hostel right at the start of the semester.
that is what I told you, that multi-messing option is something that you'll pay 1,000 rupees to your mess by
So I don't-
default
I don't
and you
want-
will
I don't want-
register in
I
the
don't
other
want
mess
to-
by default.
Actually, that is what I don't want to pay 1,000 rupees to my mess. I just want to register in a mess in some other hostel right at the start of the semester.
You see, if I was, instead of living in hostel 3, I was living in hostel 4, I would have had to have food of hostel 4. I want to live where I had food.
I don't want to pay
I haven't met
1,000
somebody
rupees.
in my entire groundwork who actually wants to do, but
I have met a lot of students who say that what is there a possibility that they can have mess registered in some other
but the
hostel.
present system of paying 1,000 rupees and registering in any other mess would eventually solve your problem which you have. These
But
systems
why
which
should I
we'll
pay
have
6,000 rupees per semester?
because
When
that
I am
is-
not opting out of the messing system at all, I am having food in another mess. Why should I pay 6,000 plus 15,000 or whatever for the other mess? So I have to pay 21,000 rupees.
because you are a student of that hostel, so you'll have to pay something to run that mess. That is the way it was calculated by Dean SA and by Dean SA to actually come down to that point.
You do not say DNS again.
Not name.
DNS सबको पता था, ठीक है? So, next is inside. You want to go out or take it over? Thank you to the panel for the discussion. Next is insight questions.
Hi. So you have this manifesto point about your Safe Surplus Food campaign. Yeah, Safe Surplus Food campaign. So, so the thing is that right now with private messes we don't have a lot of food wasted in messes. So how do you plan to how do you plan to get enough food, and B, you want to partner with NGOs. The institute has a policy of not really giving food outside because of problem in the past that happened that you will know of. So what is your solution for that?
Currently, there is a minimum of 50 kgs of food, which I tell you initially, that 50 kgs of food from 15, 16 plus 12, 13, 14 is getting wasted each and every day. With considering the Mumbai Dabbawala services, they have this NGO who is actually working on the same. They work on a basis that they do come here, they take the food and they go back. So that is already something which is getting wasted. So your first point was something not correct, that we do not have wastages. We at the minimum scale have 50 kg plus of wastage, and that was the same way calculated as the Insight article on food in
So-
same pattern.
So for the article,
And
I can tell-
second point that currently the institute was not having tie-ups with NGOs. The problem was that if somebody eats that food and have some diseases or gets unhealthy, who is responsible for it? So the way they do it in IIT Madras is that they have their contracts in which it is specifically mentioned that the NGO taking the food is solely responsible to deliver it in good manner. Actually, save the food worth of 24 lakhs. with not a single problem at all. So we'll tie up with them. We have already had a meeting. I already had a meeting with them. They're ready to do it, and we'll just the only roadblock is to have a contract between IIT and the NGOs which we collaborate.
So, yeah, so when you say that 50 kg is getting wasted, when hello. So when food gets wasted, they measure the plate wastage and the banana peels and all the food waste.
That is only a clean food. 50 kg is purely clean. Otherwise, it would have been 800 which you gave in your articles. This 50 kg is pure clean food wasted, which is clean, not taken in our plates, as well as not thrown. This is a cooked food which is ready to eat.
So 50 kg. So is this going to? I mean, what is your total amount of food? Because if it's not a different mess, different messes have different food. So if you're going to give all those different dishes, it is going to be hard to distribute that.
It is actually easier for the dabbawalas to take because they come on cycles. They take dabbas worth of 7 kgs to 10 kgs. So it will be very easier if we have 5 messes in which we'll take the dabbas of kgs of 7 to 10.
Okay. And the second point, has the institute agreed to this in principle?
Not still.
Okay. So because the roadblock that I see is that the institute will not want it rather than the dabbawalas.
Institute should want it because I told you that we are actually wasting food of worth 33 lakhs to 50 lakhs.
That's true, but
And the only thing needed is a on document contract which will be between IITB as well as with NGOs.
right. But if there's a problem, then the institute reputation get harmed, and that's one reason why the institute doesn't want. So if you've talked to people in the main building, that's fine. But if you haven't, then that's something that you should consider.
That is, if something haven't happened in the past, does not mean it cannot be done. There was no proposal from last year or before that to have a contract on paper with which this could be done. So this is the only first year which I have brought up this issue to have a contract after searching in other IITs.
My only question is, has someone in the main building given in principle approval for this?
No in principle approval for this. This is a mere proposal.
My next question is on your universal. My next question is on the universal messing point that you have. If you're going to have a central policy, does that mean you're going to normalize, going to have a uniform price in each mess, or how is that going to work?
No. A uniform central policy does not mean that we'll have the same prices. The prices will remain same which we have currently. All it is that you will be paying student charges when you're eating somewhere else. Currently, the roadblock in opt-out system is that whenever you want to eat in some other mess rather than yours, you'll have to pay guest charges there, which adds up to a total of say 200 to 240 rupees in a day. So the policy change needed will be that each and every student of IITB can eat in any other mess if he's opted in, if he's in multi-messing option, and he'll pay the and he'll pay the student charges of that mess with that card. And I've already told you the calculations and all.
Right. Next is on your policy for H12, H13, H14. So this is for the delivery in H12, H13, H14. The previous Isha also had this manifesto point, but there was blockage from the caterer there. So
No, I'll correct you. There was no blockage from the caterer. Caterer has already agreed. The problem was from the GSECs and the students that said that presently the strength of the workers there is not sufficient to meet our demands. Okay. With the new caterer which we have bought, we have more strength, we have more students, we have more people who are working there, and they have already agreed in principle after my talking that they are ready to support the system. They're ready to support the system, and they'll have separate people who will eventually have this delivery done.
And the final question is about your personalized notification in the IITB app. In the IITB app, you want to
Revamp the ITV app, which
Right.
will incorporate this thing also.
right. So for personalized notifications, who's going to be feeding in all the events and so on that are happening?
I had a word with some of the candidates who are going. I did ask that are your institute secretaries capable enough and will be willing to post your, like there will be a same system in which a student posts on student notices. Similarly, he'll post, similarly he'll just tag the ITB app, and in that manner we'll have all the events on app, and anybody who subscribed to this app would eventually get the notification of only the likings which he have.
Right, so the problem is, like for example in Cult, there is a calendar that you make at the start, but lots of things happen which cause you to change your schedule, and these things aren't updated in your Google Calendar. So
It is not linked to Google Calendar. It'll be the simple. Whenever the event is happening, all he needs to do is tell us beforehand. The application will only notify the students who are. I think.
so again, so the assumption is that every time there is a change in the schedule, the secretary has to update the app.
Every time he is having some event, he'll have to put it there in a simple and a very efficient and simple manner. Thank you.
Osama, closing statement.
As a student of ITB, I've worked as a maintenance secretary in mess council. I've worked as a mess secretary in my mess council. That has given me insights as well as deep problems of the students which they face in this vertical. Then, in my present tenure, I've been an Institute Secretary of Hostel Affairs, which gave me consistent improvement to understand, consistent knowledge about the understandings of the systems which we have, and I've worked to improve the institute facilities which we have. I believe that I do have the knowledge as well as the enthusiasm as well as the skills needed to be a good leader, to actually portray your problems well, and to eventually get this problem sorted out. What I am planning in my tenure is not something very big, it's not something very vast. These are the small steps which are to be taken for a very good development and for a directional development the institute currently needs. Please vote for me. Thank you.